of democratic governance. President Bola Tinubu, in his Democracy Day broadcast, paid homage to some Nigerians whom he described as heroes of our democratic struggle. Those named by the president were Chief Anthony Enahoro, Chief Ibrahim Adesanya, Commodore Dan Suleiman, Chief Arthur Nwankwo, Chief Chukwemeka Ezefe, Admiral Ndubuisi Kanu, Chief Frank Okori, Chief Bola, Chief Adekunle Ajasin, Chief Ganiu Dawodu, Chief Ayo Fasomi. He also mentioned Chief Ganiu Fawayemi, Chief Olabiyi Durajaye, Dr. Beko Ransom Kuti, Chima Ubane, and others. The president also recognized the sacrifices of General Alani Akinriade, Professor Bola Akiyemi, Professor Wole Soyinka, Chief Ralph Obioha, and Chief Cornelius Adebayo, saying for at least 6 years, they bore the pains and difficulties of life in exile. Tonight, let's get the perspectives of my two guests, Honorable Eziozua Johnson Agbonaima, a former member, House of Representatives and Federal Commissioner of the Code of Conduct Bureau, as well as Honorable Daniel Ihuman, the State's Publicity Secretary for APC Benue State Chapter. Gentlemen, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Welcome to Politics Tonight. Thank you.
Good evening to all Nigerians.
Right. Thank you very much. Good evening, Nigerians.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us too. So before we get into the heart of the conversation tonight, let me get each of your perspectives on our democratic journey. 25 years of unbroken democracy. Have we achieved enough, or could we have done better? Let me start with you, Honorable Eziozua.
Well, thank you very much. We are not where we used to be. We are not where we ought to be. I think we are progressing, and I believe that progression should be fast-tracked. And I want to thank those, our leaders, those living, those dead, past heroes, for what they did, contributing in a lot, bringing democracy to bear in our dear nation. 25 years of uninterrupted democracy is a very huge miles, and we have to celebrate. We have reason to celebrate our past leaders and our present leader, especially our president today, who is among those who fought, and he was in exile, he was forced into exile, and many others. And there's one man that I've not been hearing his name. That's Alhaji Gile. Apart from our father, our late father, Enahoro, Alhaji Gile was among those. He's from Benin City. He's based in New Jersey now, New York. But I want to say many others who, in their own time were able to fight the battle, to fight the military head-on, and that today we are all benefiting, reaping from the democracy that others have fought for. That's why we should respect them and emulate them and pray for them. When one is going down, we should try everything humanly possible to lift that person up rather than try to pray for the downfall. No, Nigerians, we are one together, and I cannot appreciate the 25 years of unbroken democracy. It is something that we all should applaud, we should appreciate, and thank those that made it possible. May God bless every one of you still living, and those that have gone to meet the Lord, may God Almighty receive you in his bosom. Thank you.
All right, Honorable Daniel, while you react to that particular question, and in addition to that, collectively we all agree that every June 12 we celebrate in this country offers us another opportunity to reflect on how far we have traveled on our democracy journey. But for the 31st anniversary, heroes of Nigerian democracy got due recognition from President Bola Tinubu. What does this mean for you?
Thank you very much. The celebration of 25 years uninterrupted democracy does not only tell us how we have come as a country, but it has always shown us the collective power we have in our hands to change the future of our country. And for me, when these names were called upon by our dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it gave me goosebumps. It shows the sacrifices that these patriots, these heroes of our great nation, sacrificed for us to enjoy what we're enjoying today. Don't forget that for us to have democracy, they did great sacrifice. Even some gave their lives for us to have this democracy we have today. Of course, yet it's not a Uhuru yet, but we are doing very well. And we thank these heroes, those who are dead or those who are alive, for this contribution that they've made to make our country great.
All right, let me stay with you, Honorable Daniel. Because it's the second Democracy Day that President Bola Tinubu will be marking since he assumed power in 2023. Let's talk about the president's speech. What significant part of that speech reckoned with you as a Democrat?
First, our president is somebody who was also in the trenches, but, he fought alongside these names he brought forth, and his speech gave us hope. His speech gave us confidence. His speech gave us the belief that we have a president who knows what he's doing, who is, ready to sacrifice for this country, and who wants to put this country on the pedestal of growth. And so his speech yesterday reassured us of his belief in our country, and I believe in him to deliver on the dividends of democracy to our country.
Honorable Hillsdale, what stood out for you in that speech? Because apart from honoring democratic heroes, he talked about the significance of June 12, the role of journalists and media, economic reforms and challenges. He also talked about commitment to democratic principles and path forward and optimism.
Well, I think that is how he have always stood for that. Even as a governor of Lagos State, he have always exhibited, tried to put everything, at the disposal for the progress of Lagos State people then, even as today. That Nigerians, I know for a fact that he believes, in Nigerians, and I have so much confidence in him. That is why I've always supported him, and even though, like I was, one of my friends yesterday was telling me that, oh, what has he done? And I said, well, it is easy to say that what has he done? Even you yourself now, you are in a hotel, you couldn't manage your home, you have issue with your family, you move out of your house in a hotel. Even to manage a home is difficult, talk less of managing the whole country, Nigerians as a whole. Everybody always want to be, when they play, Super Ego is playing, we have a lot of coaches, side coaches, oh, you should have done that. Mr. President is focused. I don't think that he should be distracted. And a lot of people applauding him. I just came from America, and I'm not going to lie to you, and I'll tell you the truth the way it is, that the way people were talking to me, Nigeria is getting better. Yes, it is not what we used to see. It's not where we ought to be, but we are progressing. And Mr. President cannot do it alone. It's going to require collective effort of every patriotic Nigerians. Like I've often said, seeing a crime being committed, refusing to report the crime to the nearest law enforcement, you are as guilty as the man or woman who committed that crime. So all of us collectively have a role to play to put Nigeria among the leading nations. And I think that is what Mr. President is doing. And don't forget, before he came on board, the country were characterized, bastardized, battered with, corruption and name it. So when you look at Nigeria the way we are today, for God's sake, we need to give him kudos. We need to appreciate him, even though some of the policy that he's making is for the benefit of us, because no pain, no gain. We are looking ahead, where we now begin to reap, the fruit of our labor. You must have to work hard, so that at the end of the day, the reward will be there for you to, be happy with. So we just have to be patient that Mr. President means well.
Honorable Hillsdale, kindly hold on. Just as Honorable Daniel said earlier, this 31st anniversary is more interesting because the president was also in the trenches. What does this mean for the spirit of June 12 and for democracy?
Well, it means a lot to many of us. I was in America. I remember when he was in exile in the U.S., I was in Houston. We had so many, bad things back then in Nigeria, how the military, bastardized, some, people were killed, some were in prison, some have to run for their dear life. But today, not just because he's the president, he has tasted it, and he's not the president of what he fought for, the democracy he fought for. That is why I believe that he's working day and night to make sure that, greater things, good things comes to Nigeria. Because there's no man in his senses that want to work against this great nation. I think he should be supported. I think the 25th, Democracy Day is a day that every patriotic Nigerian, we should be happy that we have democracy. Yes, democracy is here to stay. And I believe if you think about positive things that can come to Nigeria, support Mr. President. If Mr. President succeed, Nigerians succeed. That is the way I think, and that is what everyone should think.
All right. Honorable Daniel, let me bring you back into this conversation. And this is because agreeably we've come to a conclusion that, yes, we've done well for ourselves, but we still have a long way to go. You're a politician. What lessons would you say this country has learned from the impasse generated as a result of the annulment of June 12 elections, which brought the country to the precipice?
June 12 made us understand that we were better together. People who fought for June 12 were all Nigerians, from the north, from the south, market women, students, businessmen, and it showed the Nigerian spirit that if we come together, we can defeat anything. And of course, the gains of June 12 is the democracy we have today. And so it shows that when we put our acts together as a people, there is nothing we cannot conquer. Let me also say that Mr. President, in his speech yesterday, showed Nigeria very clearly that his capacities. He showed that he's a man who can take tough decisions and stand by them. He also showed that he is a listening president. And so some of the decisions he has taken, they are tough ones, but of course, they are for the betterment of our country going forward. If we're patient enough, we'll begin to see the gains of these policies of Mr. President.
Honorable Hezua, let me direct the same question to you. What lessons has Nigeria as a nation learned from the impasse generated as a result of the annulment of June 12 elections?
We have left, a lot of people have still not learned a lesson from it that Nigeria belongs to all of us all. I would say that may his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. The late, Abiola, who at the time contested, declared supposedly winner, but he was not. Today, he never became the president of this great nation. And those who are reaping from all that he went through should remember, wherever they are, that Abiola paid their price for democracy. That we should respect the family, and we should respect ourselves, and we should respect that name, Nigeria. Nigeria have come to stay. This is the time to unite as ever. This is not the time to have blame games, because whether you are from the north, the south, the west, or the east, we must come together as a nation to build a better nation. That today, those who fought for democracy, those that are no longer here, those that are here, we should appreciate them and honor them and pay them at their back. They've done well for this great nation. Let us strive together. That's the only way. I understand that Nigerians, we have a lot of huge expectation for our President Bola Tinubu, GCFRO. There's a huge expectation. But I also believe that he's working day and night in accomplishing, doing the right thing, that Nigerians as a whole can benefit from the word democracy. Because they say democracy is for the people, by the people, and of the people. By bringing dividends of democracy to the doorstep of the people. Yes, he came to try to change the narratives. But like I've often said, that the country, before his coming in on board, already battered and characterized with corruption. And I believe that it's going to take time to help. But that notwithstanding, we still have some people in the government of the day that are trying to derail the wheel of progress of Mr. President. And I want God to touch Mr. President's heart. Without being sentimental, he should easily send them packing. And there are also those who are working, that are giving him credit, making Nigeria to be a better place, that is doing everything humanly possible to address issues compelling Nigerians, that they are working hard. So all those Nigerians, ministers, should be applauded. And we know them. We know their work. Look at Abuja today. The face of Abuja has changed. Look at federal roads. I can tell you, look at Abuja Benin Road that, today has been awarded, courtesy of our candidate, Senator Modeokpewolo, and Comrade Oshomole's approach by approaching Mr. President and the Minister of Works, say, look, we have a problem. And then Mr. President swung into action by approving the contract so that that road can be motorable, because it's a menace since 1999. We have been hearing that. We had 300 billion sunk into that road, nothing to write home about by PDP then. But today, Mr. President, under his leadership, have taken the bull by the horn to make sure that, Benin-Abuja road is now motorable. And they have commenced already, and I want to thank Mr. President for that bold step. And in every other sector, even in the health sector, Mr. President is working. Look at the Nigerian Railway. I was formerly board of director of Nigerian Railway. Today, Nigerian Railway is moving from strength to strength. I give Mr. President kudos. I understand it is not easy. It's a huge task to, to just make everybody, to see everybody smiling. There are some that are waiting for Mr. President to fall. Just like when he fell the other day, anybody can fall. I felt a few weeks ago, many other presidents all over the world have had the opportunity to fall by, missing their step to trip, where some were just castigating and making derogatory statements. Instead of us to be patriotic, to love one another, to show, love, that look, sorry, to pray for him. Rather, we want to whip sentiment and to ridicule the issue that, look, if you have not fallen before, maybe one day it definitely happen to you. So it's not something that we should be talking about. Rather, we should thank God for his life.
Honorable Hezwa, now that you've gone there, why did you think that generated a lot of buzz on the internet?
A lot of people who always believe in negative approach, they're looking for something to say. They don't have anything to say, rather to talk about, that he failed. Anybody can fall, my dear. Anybody can. President Bill Clinton fell at the time. George Bush Sr. fell. George Bush Jr. fell. Obama fell at the time. Biden has fallen. Many other leaders have had the opportunity to, happen to them. You can just trip. It happened. I said, it happened to me last week in my house. My wife had to come to help me. So that's to tell you, it's not about age. It's just natural. Once you miss your step, you are bound to fall. Once you fall, you get up. That is what makes you a man. So I want to say that we should have other better things to say, to talk about our president, rather than to, degrading our nation. Rather, all we owe him is to say, thank God that he didn't injure or hurt himself. That's what I would expect Nigerians to be talking about. Not be talking about or making a laughing stock. No, that is disheartening. It is unacceptable. It's appalling for me.
All right. Honorable Daniel, I guess you may want to react to that as well. The president fell. The simple question is the president not human?
Well, that's the infallibility of humans. People fall once in a while. Even athletes, they do fall. And as my colleague has said, even in the U.S., Biden fell at the time, Obama at the time. But it is unpatriotic for people to look at it. But there's a good side to what happened. I saw the president humor at the banquet where he said he swaggered and, he dobale, It means that, he knew that he's fallible. But for us, as Nigerians, we need to continue to pray for Mr. President. We need to pray for him to succeed. And we need to contribute our own quota to our nation. Whatever we do shows the image of our country out there. And so we have, as a people, to contribute our quota. In your small corner, do your best to add upon what our president is doing, so that at the end of the day, we'll be proud of our nation. We'll be proud of the nation. This country is too big for only one president to handle. We have each and every role to play. If you are a serviceman in the army, do your job diligently. If you are a policeman, if you are a trader, put Nigeria first, and we will all enjoy this country. And so for me, Mr. President is doing very well. His policies are working. They are tough, as I said before, tough decisions, but they're working. And as I said, I came into Abuja, I was shocked. The kind of infrastructure that's been put on ground. If you come to my state, Benue, the road between Makurdi and Enugu, is the superhighway is in progress. And you look at the quality job being done. And so we have nothing than to thank Mr. President. And my Benue president, so of course I have to thank him for appointing our own son, the SGF, who has been working tirelessly, for him and this country. And so we believe that this democracy that we've gotten, we need to also protect it. We need to protect this democracy. We need to guide it jealously so that we can be able to get the dividends for ourselves, our children, and our great country, Nigeria.
All right. Honorable Daniel, let me stay with you, and this is based off of your last conversation. When you hear prominent individuals like Bishop Kuka say that our democracy is declining because it is not from cultural experiences, what do you think he's talking about?
Well, I don't agree that our democracy is declining. Our democracy is moving forward, getting better. In our electoral process, the participation of citizens. We started with an election where people could steal ballot boxes. Later on, candidate came, and now we have beavers. So the electoral process are getting better. But of course, we have not gotten there. But nobody can say that we are not, moving forward during our electoral process, and even people's participation in our polity. Those who say that, I tend to agree with them. I do not at all.
But would you say that the critical issues central? I'll come to you, Honorable Ihozua. Honorable Daniel, would you say the critical issues central to the June 12th struggle have been fully achieved?
Well, not quite. Not quite. I said before, we are not Uhuru yet. But of course, one, we have the power to choose our own leaders. It's key. The power to decide our own fate. And we've been doing that. Of course, every 4 years, we have time to renew our bond or a mandate with those who have elected in positions. And where we don't do well, of course, we vote against them. But when they do well, of course, we vote for them again. And as I've said before, Mr. President is doing very well. He's taking difficult decisions, but he has shown clearly to all Nigerians that he has the capacity to move this country forward, and he's doing that.
All right, Honorable Ihozua, let me come to you. From the President's June 12 speech, the President pledged to protect rights, preserve democracy, and address economic challenges for sustainable growth and fair opportunities. Let's take this one after another. Let's talk about fundamental human rights. I mean, basically, one of the issues around June 12 was about justice. How well would you say our fundamental human rights are being protected in Nigeria? And what more can we do as a country?
Well, seriously, I think let's call a spade a spade. Right. For once, we are having freedom of speech, freedom of communication in our dear nation. You have not heard any journalist being persecuted, bastardized by Mr. President since he came. Yes, human rights abuses have been going on before Mr. President came aboard. He never created it. And those who are also, I'm sorry to say this, some of the Amnesty International Human Rights Watch, I don't see the reason most of the time when the bandits are killing military men, I don't hear anything about human rights, what they are doing to the military men, the law enforcement, how they are being killed daily. When sometimes some bandits are being killed, that is the time you hear about human rights, Amnesty, talking about the negative aspect about Nigeria. What have they contributed to help the country in putting the nation, especially in the area of insecurity in this country? Even for Nigerian government to acquire arms was an issue in this country, because they're saying that Nigerian government will not be able to use those arms for the purpose it was meant for. Rather, they were going to use it to kill innocent people, which is totally wrong. I'm not saying that Human Rights Watch or Amnesty International, they are not doing a good job, but there are certain things that they are doing that is unacceptable. They should treat Nigeria the same way they are treating other countries. Human Rights Amnesty Watch is not only meant for Nigeria or for African nations. Look at what is happening in other Western world. What is happening? Killing innocent people. Don't they have human, right over there? Why are they always concentrated? Is Nigeria a dumping ground that Human Rights Amnesty Watch have been bandering on, castigating government day by day? No credit given to government? No, I disagree. Look, Nigerians, yes, it's not where it ought to be, but we are not where we used to be. We are progressing. I am calling on every sons and daughters, patriotic Nigerians, that we must join hands together to move this nation forward. Mr. President, Tinubu alone cannot move this country alone to the promised land without all of us together. It's going to require collective effort of every one of us. So when you point one finger at others, the other four is pointing at you. So let us come together rather than having a blame game. Mr. President, I'm not saying that he has done 100%. I'm not going to stand here to tell you that we have accomplished everything. No, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But it's going to be done with, coming together with the zeal and making Nigeria a better and greater nation, that Nigerians will be proud that we have a good government. Mr. President alone cannot do it. Neither can I. It is going to require all of us. Thank you.
Indeed. Indeed. Now, Honorable Daniel, let me come to you. The president was also very particular about the unity of this country. As a matter of fact, he emphasized on the continuous progress and importance of maintaining democratic principles. And I'm very happy both of you are politicians. What is the role of the political class in enhancing national cohesion and integration?
We as politicians must, first of all, play the game according to the rules. When you play the game of politics according to the rules, there will be no rancor. We must also be patriotic and put the country first before ourselves. We must do things that are not only within the law, but that stands out. Politicians are supposed to be honorable men. And in our actions every day, we need to show a difference. Political parties themselves also need to play. When you talk about primary elections, you have to do primary elections in a way and manner that is free, fair, and credible. Once we begin to do internal democracy, we begin to do these things correctly, of course, there will be no rancor in the system. And the unity of our country is also paramount. No matter what we do, without unity, this country won't be held together. Be it from the north, south, east, or west, we are one in the very first instance. And we must, above our interests and above ourselves, put the interest of our nation first before ourselves. After all, we're Nigerians first before we are even from our own regions and tribes. And so when we begin to look at issues from this perspective, we'll have a better nation, we'll have a stable country, and we'll have a country we're proud of.
Honorable Hughes, I want to have your take on that particular question, because with several conversations with elderly people who were key figures in the June 12 struggle, we got to know that merit and unity were what June 12 represented. But today, we have discarded them on the altar of ethnicity and religion. And I mean, all thanks to Nigerian politicians, our fault lines have widened so much. So how do we begin to work towards national cohesion by shunning ethnicity, religion polarization in this country?
Well, I remember growing up I study IROK, Islamic Religious Knowledge. And at the time, I also studied BK, Bible Knowledge. They all preaches love. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt love one another. None of them preaches hatred. It is we Nigerians, that have taken the notion, having devised, listen to me, Nigerians, we are too religious. We are not godly. Let's call a spade a spade. Even though we pray all night and pray all day, there's churches everywhere, mosques everywhere, why are we not together? I remember the man that taught me IROK is a Muslim. I have more Muslim friends in this country than those from the South. We should be our brother's keeper. I don't know where we got it wrong. Today, I remember my mother will cook. People will come, whether you are Muslim, pagan, Christian, we all come together, eat together. I grew up to see love. I grew up to see unity amongst us. That's what I grew up to see. I can go to Mina. I can go to Kaduna. I can go to Kano. I have friends across. I have friends in the East. I lived in the East. I grew up in Owerri. I have friends in the Southwest. I'm from Edo, from Benin City. I live in America. I've seen black, white, red, yellow. Why are we our worst enemy? Why can't we love one another?
But,
what about all these killings?
Honorable, here's one. Just like I said in that question, many Nigerians blame Nigerian politicians for this.
Look, this is not about blame games. This is not about politicians. Every one of us are politicians. Whether you are in government, or you are in marriage, or you are in business, or you have churches, or you have a mosque, we are all politicians in our own ways. You have to play positive politics in order to sustain your home, to be a good husband, a good wife. It's all political. It is how you look at it. When you now say politicians are all the problem, no, I disagree. No. Those who are stealing Nigeria's money are not only politicians. In this country, I investigated crude oil, taken it to global destination. Your money, Nigerian resources, stolen. The former governor of Central Bank, he stole trillions. We investigated him. What happened to the case? Accountant General of this federation, is he a politician? He stole over 211 billion. What happened to him? But when 10,000 is stolen by some Nigerians, they are in prison. When those have stolen billions and trillions, they are being given plea bargain. What is justice? Where is the justice? Don't begin to talk about politician. Listen, we have more people that are not politicians, civil servant, public officer, that are more dubious than politicians. I'm not saying that politicians are not dubious, but we shouldn't characterize that politicians are the only problem facing this nation. Across the board, we are our own worst enemy. All of us put together.
All right, then. Let's quickly take a break. Let's take a break at this moment, and when we come back, we will continue this conversation. You're watching Politics Tonight, everyone. We'll take a break, and I'll be right back. Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Tonight, we're discussing the relevance of June 12 and the honors bestowed on Nigeria's democratic heroes by President Bola Tinubu. And I've been speaking with two gentlemen, Honorable Ihuzua Johnson Agbonaima, a former member of the House of Representatives, is also a former Federal Commissioner of the Code of Conduct Bureau. And I also have Honorable Daniel Ihomon, the State Publicity Secretary for APC Benue State Chapter. Gentlemen, thank you so much for staying with us on Politics Tonight. Few minutes to wrap up, and so quickly, let me come to you. Honorable Daniel, what do you think can be done to deepen good governance in Nigeria?
First, we must advocate for citizen participation. We must also sharpen our electoral processes. And even on the issue of leadership recruitment, we have to recruit people with high moral standing. When I hear people talk about that things are wrong with our constitution, I laugh. Because it is not about the constitution. It's about the morality of people who are in charge of, our constitution. And so we must, in our leadership recruitment, recruit people who are morally, high. And we must be patriotic. We must show empathy. We must see one another as brothers and sisters wherever we go or wherever we meet. And above all, as Apollo said, we must put Nigeria at the center of all we do. If we put our country first, we support leadership, we support our president to be able to deliver on his promises. We must also remain united, and we must also do all we can to work for good results in our nation. We do not have any other country anywhere. Nigeria is the only country we have, and we must protect this country with all our might.
All right, let me stay with you for a minute. The president admitted that some of the reforms they may have brought economic hardship, but they intended to create a stronger and better foundation for future growth. So how will you advise the president to carry on in his efforts to make Nigeria better?
Yeah, one of the policies that has brought a lot of untold hardship on our people is the removal of fuel subsidy. But I believe that it is done for the greater good of our country. The looting in the subsidy regime was just too much for our country to bear. And I've said before that Mr. President is somebody who is not afraid to take difficult decisions. But at the heart, at the bottom of his heart, is his love and patriotism for this country. He means well, and I believe that as we continue to support him, he will continue to roll out these policies, and with our support, we will get to the promised land.
All right. Honorable Hezwa, let me come to you as well. The same question. How will you advise the president to carry on in his efforts to make Nigeria better?
Well, it's always difficult taking a bold step, taking serious policy, what we are not used to. Once you are used to a certain, position, you are comfortable there, even though that position is the wrong position. I think Mr. President's policy, especially the issue of this fuel subsidy. You know what bothers me? The very day Mr. President, when he was being inaugurated at Eagle Square, he was just saying that he was going to remove fuel subsidy. Before he even got to Villa, all filling stations have risen to the highest of fuel. Their pump were now being sold at a higher price. Just for the, not even be removed yet, just for the pronouncement. That is to tell you that we Nigerians, come on. I understand. But it is, hold on, it is unfair that we must join Mr. President. Now, that very moment, the prices of food, tomatoes, garri, name it, they all went up. We are killing ourselves. We are our own worst enemy. I want to say, no pain, no gain. But I also want to advise Mr. President. I'm not a special advisor, but this is just, as a Nigerian, as a citizen of this country, when policies are made, and the policy must be a policy that will also yield fruit for the Nigerian people. And when that policy is not yielding fruit to our great people, our Nigeria, the citizenry, then we must have reason to have a rethink. So nothing is stagnant, nothing remains to say it must be this way. It is only when things are moving well, we all should appreciate. But guess what? Mr. President came to deliver us from the hands of the enemy that have eaten Nigeria, eaten the Kakawan, that has eaten corruption. Corruption has eaten us deeply. I have been in this government. I have seen what has happened the past government. This government should be supported by all ramifications because it is your government. It is our government. If we succeed, we all succeed. If we fail, you have failed, I have failed.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Let's move on to other matters quickly. We have just 3 minutes to go. Honorable Hillswa, let me come to you. You're a former member of the House of Reps, so let me start with you. It's been a year since the 10th National Assembly was inaugurated. How do you assess both chambers?
Well, they are doing their best. I want to say it is not easy. It's easy to say all this stuff. I hear on the pages of newspaper, oh, they receive so much money, their salary this. Sometimes I laugh. I just laugh. They say they have cars, they bought this, they bought Jeep. And these are elected members, for God's sake. So they cannot ride a Jeep. When appointed minister, they have Land Cruiser Jeep, they have Lexus Jeep, they have Prado Jeep, they have 2 horses, they have buses, and Camry living with their convoy. An elected person, you want the person to work.
Are you saying this because you have also, are you saying this because you've also enjoyed these benefits before now?
I'm not saying this because when I was there, what I had was Peugeot, 508 Peugeot, a small car. That was given to me. I didn't complain. But let people try not to divert attention by trying to ridicule National Assembly. It's not because I was there, but the truth must be told. There are certain people that always want to divert attention to ridicule them because they want to put them in bad light. They are not on trial, for God's sake. People spend time, spend resources to come there to serve their people. You are not saying that they cannot ride a car. What is a Jeep that they cannot afford? Does it mean I don't have money to buy Jeep? I've been driving Jeep before I came to this country.
All right.
Yes.
Honorable Daniel, let me come to you quickly in 1 minute. What's happening with Benue APC? Is there peace in the party now? Because the last we heard was you accusing the governor of masterminding the disruption of a Thanksgiving mass organized by Seso Boko. Yeah. Is everything at peace with each other now? Is everyone at peace with each other now?
Well, the APC in Benue State is united under the state chairman of our party, Comrade Austin Andonagada, who is leading us well. Of course, there are friendly fire within the party in the state, and as you said, from one of my statements, it was correct. Of course, it was disrupted, but we hope and pray that things get better. I want to move away from that a little bit, that the policies of our President Bola Tinubu must be replicated at the state level. State governors are not really doing well. I want to commend the governor of Niger State for the agricultural revolution there, and the governor of Abia State for what they have with power in that state. But we must also free.
Honorable Daniel, we're out of time. I must say very big thank you to you, gentlemen. I've been speaking with Honorable Hillswa Johnson Agbonayima, former member, House of Representatives, and former commissioner of the Code of Conduct Bureau, as well as Honorable Daniel Ihoman, the State Publicity Secretary for APC.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thanks a lot for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at midnight. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG. Good night, everyone. Have a great weekend.